But it's a great pleasure to have you here, a great honor. We don't usually have the opportunity to talk with such a great NBA legend as you, so let's enjoy this moment. Well, as you can see, we are with the NBA Fan Club winners. Later, they are going to ask you some questions, but before that, I would like to ask you something. You are a member of the top 25 players of all time. How do you feel about that? Congratulations, also.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Delighted to be here. It's a tremendous honor. Obviously, there are so many guys who played in the NBA and have been really, really good. And to pick only 75 players and to be one of them is truly a blessing and an honor because, millions of guys have played, thousands, hundreds of thousands. And so to only pick 75 is very difficult to do.
Bueno, Clyde ha dicho que es un honor. Bueno, le he preguntado por qué siente al haber sido elegido como top 75. Dice que es un honor, que hay muchos grandes jugadores que han jugado, millones de jugadores y que nada, que es un honor y que lo agradece muchísimo. Okay, second question. You played in a team which is considered the greatest team of all time, 1992 Barcelona Dream Team. How was your experience there?
Well, it was a tremendous experience. Some of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. And we had so much respect for each other. We bonded as a team and we had a job to do. And I thought we took care of business pretty well.
Le he preguntado por cómo fue su experiencia cuando jugó en el Dream Team de Barcelona 92, que ganaron la medalla de oro, y me ha dicho que una experiencia tremenda, que se tenía mucho respeto entre todos y que al final tenían un trabajo que consiguieron, ¿no? Esa medalla de oro. And finally, Clyde, which current player do you think is the next Clyde Drexler for his style, dance, whatever?
I don't really like to compare players. I respect every player's right to be their own individual. And so there are so many good players in the NBA today, great players. I mean, you look at guys like LeBron James, Antetokounmpo, Giannis, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joel Embiid, so many great players, Steph Curry. I mean, so you can't go wrong, but you have to judge every player on their own merit. They're all good enough to be their own merit and to be judged on their own merit. And you have to have a lot of respect for what they do. Okay. Because they're the best in the world. They're the best players in the entire world. And so how small is that little pool, right? So they're special.
Totally agree. Le he preguntado por qué jugador actual es el nuevo Clyde Drexler y me ha dicho que no le gusta comparar jugadores, que hay jugadores muy buenos como LeBron, Giannis, Doncic, Irving, Embiid, Stephen Curry, que los tienes que juzgar a cada jugador por sus propios méritos. Okay, so let's start with the questions of the NBA Fan Club winners. Alberto, your turn. Yes, Alberto.
Hello, Clyde. Such a pleasure and honor to say hello to one of the greatest players of time. My question is, what did you impress you the most when you entered in the NBA?
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to speak with you as well. What impressed me the most is, as a kid, you grow up hoping and praying and dreaming about being an NBA player, right? And so if you're lucky enough to get drafted by an NBA team, and the moment you get one of those jerseys and you put it on, that was the greatest moment, realizing that your dream had come true.
Bueno, Alberto le ha preguntado qué es lo que más le impresionó a Clyde Drexler de cuando entró en la NBA y su respuesta es que cuando eres pequeño y estás creciendo, tienes ese gran sueño de entrar en la NBA y que cuando llega al draft y ya te puedes poner la camiseta de tu equipo, pues que es un grandísimo momento y un sueño hecho realidad. Gracias, Alberto. Luego, si hay tiempo, tendremos otra pregunta. Javi, your turn.
Hi, Clyde. It's an honor to be speaking with you today. I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching you play, so it's really unbelievable to be talking to you today. One of my first question, I guess, is in your opinion, in today's NBA, which team is the most fun to watch for you?
It's a pleasure to speak with you as well. In my opinion, I love watching the Brooklyn Nets when they're completely healthy with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, their special team. I love watching LeBron. LeBron is still one of my favorite players because of the way he plays. You know, he's a phenomenal player, but he's a great teammate as well. I love watching James Harden, the Beard, one of the most effective offensive players to ever play the game. I love watching like Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, the Joker. These guys are uniquely talented, some of the best players in the entire world.
Muchas gracias.
Chris Paul, another favorite.
Yeah, Chris Paul. Javi le ha preguntado que cuál es el equipo más divertido de ver ahora mismo y él ha dicho los Brooklyn Nets, siempre y cuando estén sanos, con Kevin Durant, con Kyrie Irving, que es un equipo muy especial. Luego también ha hablado de jugadores a nivel individual, comentando que LeBron James sigue siendo uno de sus favoritos, no únicamente por él como jugador, sino también que es un gran compañero. También ha destacado que ama ver a James Harden, que es uno de los jugadores más efectivos de toda la historia a nivel ofensivo. Y luego ha mencionado a Embiid, Doncic o The Joker. Okay, let's go with Ignacio.
Hi, Clyde. I'm a big fan of you, so I wanted to know what is your favorite game of your career, like the one you enjoy the most?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to speak with you as well. I think that every game I played was my favorite because you're doing something you love to do. This is your dream. And so to have the privilege of putting on that jersey every single night was a privilege and a blessing. And so every game I love, win, lose, or draw. Obviously, you're going to like it more when you win.
Ok, thank you, Ignacio. Ignacio le ha preguntado por cuál ha sido su partido favorito de toda su carrera, el partido que más ha disfrutado, y él ha dicho que cada partido que ha jugado siempre ha sido su favorito porque al final haces algo que te gusta, ganes o pierdas, al final es tu sueño y es un privilegio poder jugar cada partido. Thank you, Ignacio. Danny, let's go.
Hello, Clyde. It's an honor to be talking here with you. My question is about Lillard and what you said about him. Why do you think it's impossible for him to win the ring in Portland?
Hold up. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, why do you think it's impossible for Lillard to win a ring in Portland?
Who said that? It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Not impossible, but difficult for him.
Dame is one of my favorite players to watch. I love the way he plays, and he's a phenomenal player. I think they got to get him some help in Portland. And right now, he doesn't have a lot of help. Well, he's not healthy now, but going forward, they're going to have to get him some help. I think he has a good coach in Chauncey Billups, but they got to get him some help if he's going to come out of the West because Phoenix is good. The Warriors are good. You got the Jazz are good. The Nuggets are good. And forget about the Lakers and Clippers. You got so many, and the Memphis Grizzlies. You got so many good teams in the West, even the Dallas Mavericks. So to come out of the West, you need some players. You have to have a good team. Lillard needs some help.
Gracias, thank you. Dani le ha preguntado por qué cree que Damian Lillard pues es imposible que gane el anillo en Portland. Su respuesta ha sido que Damian Lillard es de esos jugadores favoritos, que es un jugador fenomenal, pero que necesita ayuda, que no la tiene y además no está sano y tendrán que reforzarse. Ha destacado que tienen un buen entrenador con Chauncey Billups, pero ha destacado mucho lo que tienen, que necesitan sí o sí ayuda, que Phoenix Suns es bueno, Warriors, Jazz, Nuggets también, incluso los Dallas Mavericks, pero bueno, que la ayuda es lo importante. Okay, so let's start with the second round of questions. Alberto, let's go.
Okay. How did it feel sharing a team with the most efficient players of all time, like Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird?
Okay. Can you please repeat that?
Okay. How did it feel when you share a team? When you share team with guys like Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, how did it feel like play with them?
Oh, when you play with great players, the game is easy. I wish I could play with those guys every night, but we're competitive, so you're always in the NBA. You're going to play against the best players, and when you do, hopefully the best team will win. But it's so much fun competing against the best players as well. I love playing with them, and I love competing against them. So it just depends.
Thank you. Alberto ha preguntado que cuando comparte equipo con grandes jugadores, ¿cómo es esa sensación? Y bueno, Clyde Drexler ha dicho que es fácil, ¿no? Jugar con grandes jugadores, que ojalá pudiera jugar con ellos cada noche, pero que también es muy divertido no únicamente jugar con ellos, sino competir. Javi, let's go.
Hi, Clyde. Obviously, I said before, I admire you a lot. I watched you many games in your times of while you were at Portland and then at the Rockets. Who do you think is the best player you play with?
Obviously, the best player I played with in my whole career was Hakeem Olajuwon. When I got back to the Houston Rockets, he was a phenomenal player and a great friend. So, you know, I'd have to say Hakeem was my favorite teammate.
Good. I think you are muted now, Jordi.
Ah, perdón, sorry. A Javi he preguntado por cuál es el jugador el mejor jugador con el que ha jugado y Drexler ha dicho que obviamente Olajuwon, que es un jugador increíble y un gran amigo. Ignacio, your turn.
Hi, Clyde. So I wanted to know, in your opinion, who was the toughest player to guard, like the one who gave you the most trouble?
There are so many in the NBA. There's so many great offensive players, especially in the 80s and 90s, right? They're great players today, but guys that you wouldn't even know about would embarrass you on any given night. So you always had to be ready to compete, right? But obviously the single greatest player I had to play against was probably Michael Jordan. Yes, very difficult to guard.
Ignacio ha preguntado que cuál ha sido el jugador más difícil de defender y la respuesta de Clyde ha sido que hay muchos grandes jugadores ofensivos, especialmente en los 80 y 90, que hay chicos que ni conoces que te van a dejar mal, sí o sí, porque tienen mucho talento, pero que al final elige a Michael Jordan. Seguimos con Dani.
Clyde, more talking about Portland, what advice would you give to Anthony Simons to improve his game?
No, Anthony Simons has had a breakout year. I think he's young, he's very talented, and he's proven he's going to be a really good player going forward. And so the Trailblazers, when Lillard gets healthy, they're going to have to find a way to play those guys together, right? Simons is a phenomenal talent. I really like the way his game has developed.
Dani le ha preguntado por qué consejo le daría al jovencito Anthony Simons para mejorar su juego y Clyde ha dicho que, bueno, que está teniendo un año de breakout, de romperlo, de mejorar, de candidato a jugador más mejorado, que es joven, que está demostrando que será bueno y que cuando Lillard esté sano, pues Portland tendrá que encontrar la manera para que ambos puedan jugar y aprovechar el máximo talento. Ok, so we have a few more minutes. ¿Alguien tiene una pregunta más así importante que la quiera sacar sí o sí? Si no, yo tengo. Bueno, mientras vais a hacer una pregunta, I have a question, Clyde. Well, I'm from Spain, and I would like you to answer this. What do you think about Spanish basketball with Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, Ricky Rubio? You know that the Spanish national team against USA, they gave us a great show, great matches in the Olympic Games.
Well, Spain has always had great basketball players, from Paul Gasol to Ricky Rubio to Rudy Fernandez. I mean, all these great players on the same team, they're going to give anyone trouble, right? And so the basketball has to continue to develop in Spain because I hadn't seen very many younger players to be as good as those guys we mentioned, right? And so they got to do more development. But my favorite player from Spain is Rafa Nadal.
Nice, I like it. Bueno, le he preguntado por los jugadores españoles, el equipo nacional, la selección, ¿no? Que en los Juegos Olímpicos han dado mucha guerra contra Estados Unidos y él ha dicho que sí, que es un equipo, bueno, que tiene muy grandes jugadores España, una gran selección que siempre darían problemas, que desarrollan muy bien los jugadores, pero que su jugador favorito es Rafa Nadal. ¿Alguna pregunta más? ¿Alguno de por aquí? Venga, aprovechad.
Have one. Okay, Clyde. If you going to join again the NBA, what would you have to improve on your skill to be a better player? I mean, to play in the actuality in the NBA.
Well, I would tell all young players, the NBA basketball, you have to have a variety of skills, right? You need to be able to dribble really well. You need to be able to pass, play defense. You need to be able to shoot, and you need to be able to rebound. But you have to be in great shape. You have to be a good runner. And you have to have good hands. And so I would work on every facet. You also have to be strong. So I would work on every facet of those characteristics every single day. And so the more you work on them, the luckier you will get.
Muy buena pregunta. Alberto ha preguntado que si Clyde Drexler se uniera otra vez a la NBA actual, pues qué habilidades tendría que mejorar para adaptarse al juego moderno. Y él ha dicho que necesitas cualquier skill, cualquier habilidad, la de pasar, defender, tirar, rebotear. Además tienes que estar en buena forma, por lo que trabajaría absolutamente en todo y además que tienes que estar fuerte. More questions? Javi?
Clyde, what did you miss the most from your from where you play? What do you miss the most from those times?
What do I miss the most from my playing days? The money.
Yeah.
No, you know, the ability to compete against the best players in the world, night in and night out, that's why I played the game. That's the love of the game. Obviously, it didn't hurt that you had some pretty big paychecks, but when, you know, there are only so many jobs, you know, professional basketball players, just like soccer players, like tennis players, like football players, they make a pretty good living. And so it's a great life.
Bueno, la pregunta de Javi era de qué es lo que más echa de menos de jugar, y él así primero ha dicho el dinero, ¿no? Y luego, pues obviamente lo de jugar contra ellos y seguir compitiendo. Amigos, tenemos tiempo para una última pregunta, last question. ¿Alguien quiere hacer esa última pregunta? Si no, yo tengo una, como queráis. ¿Una última pregunta?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, last question. Let's go.
Clyde, which team do you think will win the ring this year?
I'm going to go way out on a limb, way out, guys. I'm going to say that the best team will probably win this year. You know, I'm rooting for Phoenix and Chris Paul.
Ok, bueno, pues le han preguntado por qué equipo cree que ganará el anillo este año y he dicho, bueno, así probablemente al final él estará animando a Phoenix y a Chris Paul. No sé si he dicho algo más porque se me ha cortado un momentito. Si me podéis confirmar que ha dicho lo de Phoenix y Chris Paul, ¿sí?
Sí.
Perfecto, perfecto. Pues Clyde, thank you very much. Great honor, great pleasure. Good luck and thank you for your time.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.